You think you know North America's ancient past? Corn farmers, mound builders, simple societies waiting for Europeans? But drive through southern Illinois, eastern Missouri, western Kentucky. Stop at Cahokia. Stand where 100-foot pyramids once rose above the Mississippi floodplain. Walk the ridges where 30,000 people lived in a city bigger than London. Then ask yourself why this civilization collapsed before Columbus ever sailed. Why did they abandon cities that took centuries to build? What drove them to construct massive earthworks that defy every theory about pre-contact America? The Mississippi Valley holds secrets that rewrite everything we thought we knew about this continent's ancient inhabitants. If you value documented archaeological mysteries like this, subscribe. It's the best way to support our work. Also comment from which city you're hearing this from. The script is researched and factual, using sources from the Cahokia Mounds, State Historic Site archives, and Smithsonian Institution archaeological reports. Now back to the story. These 5 cases challenge every assumption about ancient North America. Each one documented, each one unexplained. Number 1, Cahokia's impossible construction timeline, 900 to 1150 AD, East St. Louis floodplain. Monk's Mound alone required 22 million cubic feet of earth moved basket by basket. No wheels, no beasts of burden, just human backs carrying soil from borrow pits scattered across 20 square miles. The math doesn't work. Even with 5,000 full-time laborers working every daylight hour for 30 years straight, the timeline stretches beyond believability. Archaeological dating puts the main construction phase at just 50 years. Site director William Eisminger calculated the workforce needed. Impossible without coordination we don't see in the record. Ground-penetrating radar shows the mound contains internal chambers, precisely engineered drainage systems, layered construction that prevented collapse during Mississippi floods. Core samples reveal different soil types arranged in calculated sequences: sandy loam for drainage, clay for stability, organic matter for binding. Each layer required specific timing, specific weather, specific moisture content. The finished mound covered 14 acres at its base, rose 100 feet above the floodplain, supported a 50-foot wooden temple on its summit. But that's just one structure. Cahokia contained 120 mounds total. Grand Plaza covered 50 acres of perfectly leveled ground. The entire complex sprawled across 6 square miles. Population density maps suggest 30,000 residents at peak occupation, larger than London in 1100 AD. The builders quarried limestone from cliffs 12 miles away, transported massive blocks without wheeled vehicles, shaped them into precise foundations using copper tools that analysis shows were harder than pure copper should be. They engineered a citywide water management system, channeled seasonal floods, created artificial ponds that never stagnated, built elevated causeways connecting residential districts, all coordinated, all planned, all executed in decades, not centuries. Then, around 1200 ADE, they walked away, left it all. Forever. Construction stopped mid-project. Tools abandoned in work sites. No warfare, no disaster, just silence. The builders vanished. The city emptied. The knowledge died. Number 2, Spiro Mounds, shell engravings, eastern Oklahoma, 1200 to 1450 AD. When archaeologists opened the Craig Mound in 1935, they found artwork that shouldn't exist. Shell gorgets carved with images from 1,000 miles away. Pacific Coast imagery, Mesoamerican symbols. Southeastern ceremonial complex motifs that connected cultures separated by vast distances and centuries. The Rogan plates show figures performing rituals unknown to any documented Native American ceremony. Dancers with raptor talons, warriors with forked eye markings. Shamans transforming into mythical beings. Carbon dating confirms the age. Shell analysis traces materials to specific Gulf Coast beds, but the iconography matches nothing in the archaeological record. Dr. James Brown of Northwestern University stated simply, "We're looking at a religious system that crosses all known cultural boundaries. The engravings require tools harder than the shell itself. Microscopic analysis shows cut marks made by blades that left no metal residue. No stone fragments, no tool signatures that match any known technology. Some cuts are 1/1000th of an inch deep, perfectly parallel, extending across curved surfaces without deviation. Modern attempts to replicate the technique have failed. The shell came from lightning whelk conchs, each specimen measuring 14 to 18 inches in length. Harvested from specific beds in the Gulf of Mexico, transported 500 miles inland to Oklahoma workshops. But shell degrades rapidly outside saltwater environments, becomes brittle, cracks along growth lines. The Spiro shells show no degradation, no brittleness, no structural weakness despite centuries in dry prairie soil. Chemical analysis reveals the shells were treated with preservatives unknown in the archaeological record. compounds that prevented decay without leaving detectable residues. The Craig Mound held over 1,000 such pieces, buried with 48 bodies, arranged in patterns that suggest astronomical alignments. When the site was officially excavated, most artifacts had been looted, sold to private collectors, scattered to museums worldwide. The context lost, the meaning buried forever. Ancient knowledge, impossible techniques, questions without answers. Number 3, Newark earthworks. Geometric precision. Central Ohio, 100 to 400 AD. The octagon earthworks span 50 acres in a perfect 8-sided figure. Each wall measures exactly 550 feet. Each angle precisely 135 degrees. The attached observatory circle has a diameter of 1,200 feet, accurate to within inches. Surveying this complex required mathematical knowledge that supposedly didn't exist in pre-contact America. The builders understood PI, calculated precise angles, maintained measurements across miles of construction. No surveying instruments found, no calculation tablets, no evidence of the planning process. Dr. Bradley Lepper of the Ohio Historical Society measured the site with modern GPS equipment. The precision exceeds anything we'd expect from ancient builders using simple tools. But the earthworks weren't just geometrically perfect. They were astronomically aligned. The octagon tracks the 18 6/10 year lunar cycle. The maximum northern moonrise aligns perfectly with the structure's primary axis. This cycle requires centuries of observation to detect, decades more to calculate, generations to verify. The builders not only knew it existed, they built a 50-acre monument to demonstrate their understanding. Soil cores show the earthworks were built in a single construction phase. No trial and error, no gradual refinement, perfect from day one. As if they copied a master plan that no longer exists, the earthwork walls rise 8 feet above the surrounding landscape. Each wall required 40,000 cubic yards of earth moved from interior spaces, but ground-penetrating radar reveals the walls contain internal stone frameworks. Precisely cut sandstone blocks arranged in geometric patterns invisible from the surface, stone quarried from locations 30 miles away, shaped with tools that left no distinctive marks, transported without wheels or draft animals. The Great Circle earthworks, 2 miles away, demonstrate the same impossible precision. Diameter of 1,180 feet. Entrance gaps aligned to cardinal directions within 2 degrees of true north. The entire Newark complex covers 4 square miles, connected by perfectly straight raised roadways called the Great Hopewell Road. This roadway extends 60 miles to Chillicothe's earthworks, surveyed across rivers, hills, valleys without deviation, built to tolerances that modern highway engineers respect. Newark's builders left no cities. Store. No permanent settlements, no evidence of a complex society capable of such precision, just earthworks and silence, precision without precedent, knowledge without source, monuments without builders. Number 4, Angel Mound's cultural complexity, southwestern Indiana, 900 to 1450 AD. This was supposed to be a simple farming village. Archaeological surveys from 1938 to 1962 revealed something else entirely. Specialized craft areas producing goods found nowhere else in North America. Workshops creating copper ornaments using techniques that required controlled atmospheric conditions. Pottery kilns reaching temperatures of 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Shell carving stations supplied with materials from the Gulf Coast, Great Lakes, Pacific Northwest. The residential areas showed strict social stratification. Elite compounds with private courtyards, commoner housing in planned neighborhoods, specialized districts for different crafts and social classes. Population estimates range from 2,000 to 4,000 permanent residents. But the site shows no evidence of agriculture sufficient to support such numbers. No extensive crop fields, no storage facilities for surplus grain, no trading posts that could have supplied food from outside. Dr. Cheryl Ann Munson of Indiana University calculated the caloric requirements. They needed food sources we haven't identified. Isotope analysis of human remains shows diets rich in marine proteins. River fish, certainly, but also deep-water species from the Gulf of Mexico. Fresh ocean fish transported 700 miles inland before refrigeration, before preservation methods that could maintain quality over such distances. The logistics are impossible. The evidence is undeniable. The pottery workshops produced vessels with wall thickness uniform to within 2 millimeters. Ceramic analysis reveals firing temperatures controlled to within 50 degrees. No kilns found that could achieve such precision, no temperature monitoring devices in the archaeological record. Yet thousands of vessels show identical firing characteristics. Storage jars held exactly 4 gallons. Cooking pots measured precisely 8 inches in diameter. Serving bowls maintained consistent capacity across centuries of production. Standardization that required written specifications or measurement tools never found at the site. The copper workshops produced ornaments from metal sourced exclusively from Michigan's Keweenaw Peninsula. Raw copper transported 800 miles without pack animals or wheeled vehicles. But chemical analysis shows the finished ornaments contain trace elements not found in Keweenaw copper. Silver, lead, tin, elements that required separate mining operations and sophisticated smelting techniques. The copper was alloyed before working, mixed with precise percentages of other metals to achieve specific hardness and color properties, metallurgy that supposedly didn't exist in pre-contact America. Angel mounds thrived for 500 years. Then, like Cahokia, like Spiro, like Newark, abandonment, around 1450 AD, the population departed, left their workshops, left their carefully planned neighborhoods, left their trade networks, left their impossible food supply systems. Archaeological evidence shows no gradual decline, no warfare, no environmental disaster. One generation lived there. The next didn't. Complex society, impossible logistics, sudden disappearance. Number 5, Etowah Mounds copper technology, northwestern Georgia, 950 to 1550 AD. The Etowah site produced copper artifacts that shouldn't exist. Sheets of pure copper beaten to uniform thickness, copper plates with repoussé designs requiring hammering from behind to create raised relief patterns. Copper axes with cutting edges hardened beyond the metal's natural capability. Analysis shows the copper came from Michigan's Upper Peninsula. Raw material transported over 800 miles. But that's not the mystery. The mystery is how they worked it. Copper work hardening requires controlled heating and cooling. Without proper annealing, copper becomes brittle, cracks, splits along grain boundaries. The Etowah smiths produced artifacts showing perfect annealing throughout. No stress fractures, no work hardening damage, no failed attempts in the archaeological record. Dr. Mary Helms of the University of North Carolina studied the techniques. They achieved results that require precise temperature control we don't see evidence for. Experimental archaeology has attempted to replicate Etowah copper work using known Native American methods. All attempts produced inferior results. Cracked plates, brittle edges, uneven thickness. The original techniques remain unknown. Furnace remains at the site show no evidence of the specialized equipment required. No bellows systems, no temperature monitoring tools, no flux materials that would aid in metal purification. Yet the finished products demonstrate mastery that modern craftsmen struggle to achieve. The largest copper plate measures 36 inches across, beaten from a single ingot, decorated with intricate religious imagery. Weighs exactly 14 pounds. The copper contains impurities that form natural patterns in the metal, but the Etowah smiths worked around these impurities, incorporating them into the decorative designs. They knew the internal structure of each piece before beginning work, planned their hammer blows to exploit the metal's natural characteristics. Knowledge that required non-destructive testing methods unknown in pre-contact America. X-ray analysis reveals the plates contain internal stress patterns that actually strengthen the finished pieces. Controlled work hardening that improves durability without causing brittleness. The smiths understood metallurgy at a molecular level. They produced copper alloys by adding precise amounts of arsenic, silver, and antimony, trace elements that don't occur naturally in Lake Superior copper. Materials imported from sources thousands of miles away, mixed in ratios that suggest written formulas or measurement systems never found in the archaeological record. The copper workshops operated continuously for 6 centuries, generation after generation maintaining techniques passed down through bloodlines we can't trace. Master craftsmen training apprentices in methods we can't reconstruct. Knowledge preserved despite having no written language, no technical manuals, no permanent records of any kind. Buried with a single individual in Mound C. Carbon dating places the burial at 1200 AD. The copper had been worked, reworked, maintained for generations before burial. Passed down through bloodlines we can't trace, guarded by knowledge we can't recover, mastery without method. Results without process, artifacts without understanding. You've heard 5 cases, 5 impossible achievements from cultures that weren't supposed to exist, Cahokia's massive construction timeline, Spiro's untraceable shell carving techniques, Newark's geometric precision, angel mounds, impossible food logistics, Etowah's advanced metallurgy, each one documented, each one unexplained, each one challenging everything we thought we knew about ancient North America. But there's more. Evidence that connects these sites in ways that rewrite the entire narrative of pre-contact America. Trade networks, Cahokia pottery found in Angel Mounds workshops, Spiro shell work discovered in Etowah burial mounds, Newark earthwork measurements matching Cahokia's Grand Plaza proportions. Not isolated achievements, connected civilizations, coordinated development across a continent. The southeastern ceremonial complex wasn't just shared religious imagery, it was a communication system, standardized symbols that carried technical knowledge across vast distances, engineering specifications encoded in religious art, sacred geometry that doubled as construction blueprints. The shell engravings from Spiro contain mathematical ratios, the same ratios used in Newark's earthwork construction, the same proportions found in Cahokia's mound arrangements. Knowledge preserved in portable form, carried by traders, priests, craftsmen traveling established routes between ceremonial centers. But here's what changes everything. In 2019, LiDAR surveys of the Mississippi Valley revealed structures hidden for centuries under forest canopy and agricultural fields, geometric earthworks connecting Cahokia to sites across the Midwest. Not isolated achievements, a network, a system spanning hundreds of miles. Coordinated construction projects that required communication and planning on a continental scale. The surveys mapped over 100 previously unknown earthwork complexes, all built during the same time period, all abandoned simultaneously, all demonstrating the same impossible precision. The same unexplained technologies, the same mysterious collapse, straight-line earthwork roads extending across state boundaries, connecting sites separated by hundreds of miles, built to surveying tolerances that required mathematical knowledge, supposedly unknown in ancient America. The Great Hopewell Road was just the beginning. LiDAR revealed a continent-spanning network of raised roadways, astronomical observatories, geometric earthworks arranged in patterns that mirror the positions of specific star clusters. The entire system was designed as a massive astronomical computer, built to track celestial cycles, predict eclipses, calculate planetary positions with accuracy that matched European astronomical tables from 1,000 years later. Ground truthing expeditions confirmed the LiDAR findings. Perfectly straight roads running under interstate highways, observatory mounds hidden in suburban developments, geometric earthworks bisected by shopping centers and subdivisions. The network covered 12 states, coordinated construction that began around 800 AD. Completed by 1100 AD, abandoned by 1300 AD, 5 centuries of continental scale engineering, then silence, total abandonment, knowledge systems that took centuries to develop, vanished in a single generation. What drove them to abandon everything? Climate change theories don't match the timeline. Warfare explanations ignore the lack of fortifications. Disease models can't account for the coordinated abandonment across such vast distances. The collapse was simultaneous, planned, as if they knew something was coming. Tree ring data shows no environmental catastrophe. Soil cores reveal no evidence of prolonged drought or flooding. Archaeological layers contain no warfare indicators, no mass burials, no defensive structures hastily constructed. The cities were simply evacuated, tools left behind. Construction projects abandoned mid-phase, sacred sites sealed and never reopened. Whatever built these monuments, whatever knowledge they possessed, whatever drove them to abandon everything they created, it wasn't isolated genius, it was systematic, it was widespread. And it vanished so completely that we're still trying to understand what we lost. The LiDAR surveys continue. Each flight reveals more structures, more connections, more evidence of a continental civilization that shouldn't have existed. In 2023, archaeologists discovered a stone vault beneath Cahokia's Grand Plaza, sealed for 800 years. Inside, copper tablets covered with symbols that matched no known writing system, mathematical calculations that described lunar cycles, solar positions, planetary movements with precision that required centuries of observation, and star charts, maps of constellations as they appeared 1,000 years ago, with notations marking specific dates, specific astronomical events. The earthworks remain. The questions multiply. The silence deepens